Alright, picture this. I'm sitting on my porch last Tuesday, cold beer sweating in my hand, when I hear a chainsaw scream to life. And I look up to see Karen, my HOA nightmare of a neighbor, hacking down my fence like she's auditioning for a horror flick. No kidding, folks. This woman, 5 foot nussin', perm so tight it could crack walnuts, starts dragging the splintered posts into my yard like she's claiming it for the Queen of Karens. I damn near choked on my Bud Light. You gotta hear this, I says to myself. 'Cause this ain't just a nosy neighbor story. This is the day Karen's big, dumb plan blew up in her face so bad, she's still picking shrapnel out of her ego. So here I am, leaning back in my rickety old chair, the kind that creaks like it's got opinions. The sun's dipping low, painting the sky all orange and lazy over my little slice of nowhere. Call it a half-acre of freedom, complete with patchy grass and a beat-up grill that's seen better days. Dogs are barking down the street, kids are hollering over a kickball game, and my radio's humming some twangy country tune about a truck and a broken heart. It's peaceful, right? Except for Karen, who lives 2 houses down in that fancy HOA zone where the lawns look like they're ironed and the mailboxes cost more than my truck. She's been a burr in my socks since we moved in, always yammering about my unmowed grass or the time I left my boat trailer parked out front for an extra day. But this is next level loco. She's out there in her neon visor and yoga pants, hauling my fence posts like she's staging a land grab, screaming over the chainsaw. I'm just expanding my living space. Expanding her living space? Into my yard? I'm sitting there, jaw on the floor, thinking, lady, you've lost the plot. Now here's where it gets juicy. I got a little security cam tucked up by the garage. Nothing fancy, just a cheapo thing from Walmart that buzzes half the time. Caught her whole performance in glorious 1080p. Every grunt and tug, time-stamped and all. I didn't even know it'd be the golden ticket till later, but man, it was like fate handed me a loaded gun with the safety off. I holler out, Karen, what in the Sam Hill you doing? She spins around, chainsaw still growling, and yells, this fence is an eyesore, and I deserve the extra room. Oh, she deserved something, all right, just not what she thought. I'm about to stomp over there, ready to give her a piece of my mind, when I hear sirens wailing in the distance. Not unusual round here. Cops cruise by now and then, but they're getting closer, real close. Karen's too busy yanking stakes out of my dirt to notice, and I'm thinking, what's brewing now? Little did she know, those sirens weren't just passing through, they were coming for her. And that's when I spot Judy, my wife, peeking out of the screen door with a grin that says, this is gonna be good. So there I am, still glued to my porch chair, beer going warm in my hand, watching Karen turn my yard into her personal demolition derby. She's got this wild look in her eye, like she's half pioneer woman, half rabid raccoon, sawing and tug gin like my property line's just a suggestion. The air's thick with sawdust and her hollering, I've got rights, you know. And I'm sitting there thinking, rights to what? A starring role in Dumbest Moves of the Year? The neighborhood's starting to perk up now. Old man Jenkins down the way pokes his head out of his garage, squinting like he's trying to figure out if this is a circus or a crime scene. A couple kids ditch their kickball game and creep closer, giggling behind a bush. Even my mutt, Rusty, trots over from his nap under the oak tree, tail wagging like he's hoping for popcorn. Me? I'm just talking it in, letting Karen dig her grave one loud, obnoxious inch at a time. She finally kills the chainsaw, wipes her brow all dramatic-like, and starts hammering new stakes into my dirt. I'm talking bright orange ones, the kind you'd see at a construction site, like she's marking her territory for a McMansion annex. Karen, I call out, keeping it calm. You realize that's my land, right? She whips around, hands on her hips, and snaps. It's an eyesore, and the HOA agrees I can improve it. Improve it? Lady, You're turning my backyard into a war zone. I'm about to fire back when Judy steps out, all cool as a cucumber, holding her iced tea like it's a prop in a showdown. She's got that look. Sharp, quiet, the kind that says she's already 3 steps ahead. Punny, she says to me, voice low, let her ramble. She's cooking something she can't eat. I trust Judy's gut. She's the brains of this outfit, so I lean back, figuring I'll let Karen tire herself out. But then she starts waving a piece of paper, yelling, I've got approval. You can't stop progress. Approval? From who? The HOA fairy. I'm skeptical, but before I can ask, those sirens I mentioned, they're real close now, maybe a block away. Karen's too busy strutting around my mangled fence line to clock it, but I catch a glint of red and blue flashing through the trees. My get twists. Cops don't roll up this fast for a noise complaint, and I ain't called him. So what's the deal? That's when Judy nudges me, nodding toward the security cam. You checked that footage lately? She whispers. I hadn't, but now I'm thinking maybe I should. Karen's still ranting. Something about property values in her vision when 2 squad cars peel around the corner and screech to a stop right in front of my house. Doors fly open, and out step 3 cops, looking like they mean business. Karen freezes mid-hammer, orange steak dangling in her hand, and I swear her face goes from smug to oh crap faster than a jackrabbit on a hot griddle. Now, let me paint this picture for you. 2 cop cars parked crooked in front of my house, lights flashing like it's the 4th of July, and 3 officers stepping out with that no-nonsense stride. Karen's standing there, orange steak in one hand, hammer in the other, looking like a deer caught in a spotlight. Me and Judy are on the porch, her sipping that iced tea like she's watching a soap opera, and I'm trying not to laugh 'cause this is getting too wild to make up. The lead cop, big guy, mustache thick enough to sweep the street, zeroes in on Karen like she's the only soul in sight. Nam, he says, voice all gravel. You Karen Withers? She blinks, drops the hammer, clunk, right into the dirt, and stammers. Why yes, that's me. What's this about? I'm sinking, dung. This ought to be good. And Judy gives me a little smirk that says she's thinking the same. See, Karen's so wrapped up in her fence-moving crusade, she don't realize the cops ain't here for me. She starts flapping her gums, pointing at my yard like I'm the problem. Officer, thank goodness you're here. This man's been harassing me over a simple property improvement. I choke on a laugh. Harassing her? I've been sitting here watching her trash my fence like it's a free-for-all. But Mustache Cop ain't buying it. He holds up a hand, cuts her off, and says, we're not here about a fence, ma'am. We need to talk about your garage. Her garage? Now I'm hooked. I lean forward, chair creaking, and Judy mutters, told you she's in deep. Karen's face goes white, like someone just yanked the plug on her whole act. In my garage? She squeaks. The cop nods, pulling out a notepad. We got a tip, anonymous, about some activity down at your place. Mind if we take a look? Activity? What's she been cooking up, meth? A pyramid scheme? I'm dying to know, and so's half the neighborhood. 'Cause now Jenkins and the kickball kids are ogling from the sidelines. Karen starts backpedaling, literally and figuratively, tripping over a chunk of my busted fence. This is outrageous. I'm a law-abiding citizen. He's the problem. Look at this yard. She's pointing at me again, but the cops don't even glance my way. Second cop, a wiry gal with a ponytail, steps up and says, ma'am, we've got a warrant. You can come with us, or we can do this the hard way. A warrant? Holy smokes, this just went from funny to no freaking way. I'm sitting there, mind racing, when it hits me. Those sirens were coming hot before Karen even fired up her chainsaw. This ain't about her little land grab. This is something bigger, something she's been sitting on like a hen on a rotten egg. And then I remember that Cam weren't away by the garage. I nudged Judy. You think it caught more than just her fence stunt? She shrugs, all sly, and says, "Might've. Why don't you check?" So while the cops start herding a sputterin' Karen toward her house for yelling about slander and my rights, I duck inside to pull up the footage. Takes me a minute to figure out the app. Damn thing's always glitching. But when I rewind a couple days, my jaw hits the floor. There's Karen sneaking out of her garage at midnight, hauling what looks like big OL bags of something shady into a van that ain't hers. No way. No freaking way. Alright, so I'm hunched over my phone in the living room, thumbing through this security cam footage like I'm some kind of porch-sitting detective. Judy's leaning over my shoulder, iced tea dripping on the floor, and we're both watching Karen, our Karen, creeping around her garage 2 nights ago like she's in a bad spy movie. She's got these hefty trash bags, the kind you use for yard clippings or something worse, and she's stuffing him into a beat-up van that rolled up under cover of dark. I'm talking 1 a.m. No moaned, just her and this mystery ride. What the hell's she up to? I mutter, and Judy just shakes her head, saying, "Nothing good. That's for damn sure." Outside, the cops are still wrangling Karen toward her place. She's kicking up a fuss. This is harassment. I'll sue. But they're not fazed, marching her right past my mangled fence line. I'm sinking. Rady, you're the one who brought a chainsaw to a property dispute. But now I'm wondering if that was just her cover for whatever's cooking in that garage. The footage keeps rolling, and there's more. She's nervous, looking over her shoulder every 2 seconds. And then, bam, she drops a bag, and something spills out. Can't tell what it is, too grainy. But it ain't leaves or old clothes. It's weird. Lumpy. My stomach does a flip. I'm about to run this gold mine out to the cops when Judy grabs my arm. Hold up, hotshot. Let's see how this plays out. She's got a point. Karen's already neck deep, and I don't want to tip my hand till I know the full scoop. So we sneak back to the porch, peek in through the screen door like a couple kids spying on a fight. The cops are at her garage now. One of them Jimmy in the lock while Karen's practically hyperventilating. "You can't do this," she screeches, but Mustache Cop just flashes that warrant like it's a royal decree. They pop the garage door, and even from my porch I hear a collective whoa from the officers. I crane my neck, but I can't see squat. Just shadows and some muffled radio chatter. Karen's gone quiet, which ain't like her. And that's when Ponytail Cobb holds out a bag just like the ones from my footage. She slices it open with a pocket knife, and out tumbles counterfeit cash. Stacks of it, sloppy and green, fluttering onto the driveway like Monopoly money on a bender. "No way," I whisper, and Judy snorts. "Told you she's dumber than a bag of hammers." Turns out Karen's been running some half-baked printing operation, fake bills, and not even good ones. The cops start peeling evidence bags, and Karen's just standing there, hands cuffed, looking like she's trying to figure out how her living space plan went so sideways. But here's the kicker. My Kim didn't just catch her fence fiasco. It's got her whole midnight shuffle on tape. I'm sitting on proof that ties her to this mess tighter than a hog in a lasso. The neighborhood's a zoo now. Jenkins is out with binoculars. The kids are snapping pics, and Rusty's barking like he's cheering the cops on. I'm grinning ear to ear, thinking I might just hand this footage over and watch Karen squirm. But then Mustache Cop glances my way, nods, and starts heading over. "So," he calls, "you got any cameras round here?" My heart skips. Do I play dumb, or do I drop the ball? So here comes Mustache Cop, trudging up my cracked driveway, boots crunching on gravel, while Karen's over by her garage, cuffed and yelling about her lawyer like it's gonna magic her out of this mess. I'm still holding my phone, that footage burning a hole in my pocket, and Judy's giving me that "your move" look over her tea glass. The neighborhood's buzzing, dogs going nuts, kids whispering, and old man Jenkins damn near fouling out of his lawn chair trying to eavesdrop. It's like the whole street's holding its breath, waiting for the next shoe to drop. So, Mustache Cop says again, stopping a few feet from my porch. You got any cameras that might have caught something round here? He's got that cop stare, the kind that says he knows I know something. I glance at Judy, who just sips her tea all casual, leaving me to sweat it out. Yeah, I say, playing it cool. Got a little one by the garage. Might have picked up a thing or two. He nods, scribbling in that notepad, and says, mind if we take a look? Buddy, you have no idea what you're about to see. I lead him over to the garage, Judy trailing behind like she's just along for the ride. I pull up the app again, rewind to that midnight haul, and hand him the phone. His mustache twitches as he watches Karen fumbling with those bags, drop in that lumpy whatever it was, and scrambling to shove it back in. Then I skip to today's show. Her chains win my fence like a lunatic, all time-stamped and crystal clear. Well, I'll be damned, he mutters, handing the phone back. This ties it up nice and tight. Mind sending us a copy? I grin, you bet, officer. Happy to help. He radios Ponytail Cop, who's still guarding the counterfeit jackpot, and within minutes they're hauling Karen into a squad car. She's screaming bloody murder. This is a setup. He framed me, pointing at me like I'm the mastermind. Lady, I couldn't forge a parking ticket, let alone a stack of fake 20s. The cops ain't buying it either. They've got her dead to rights, and my footage is the cherry on top. Mustache Cop tips his hat my way, says, appreciate it, sir. We'll be in touch. And off they go, Karen's perm bouncing as the car peels out. I plop back in my chair, crack a fresh beer, and Judy settles in beside me, smug as a cat with a canary. The sun's set now, crickets chirping, and the streets settling down, except for Jenkins, who's still gawking like he missed the memo. Can you believe that? I say, shaking my head. Judy chuckles. Told you she'd trip over her own feet. She wanted more space, all right. Now she's got a whole cell to stretch out in. We sit there, sipping in Logan, while Karen's grand plan unravels in the rearview. Turns out that anonymous tip came from a delivery guy who saw her print and setup through an open window. Dumb luck, but she sealed her fate with that fence stunt. My yard's a mess, sure, but I'm up one hell of a story, and Karen's down a whole lot of pride. The radio kicks on again, some old Johnny Cash tune, and I raise my bottle to Judy. To live in space, I say, and she clinks her glass. And to Karens who don't know when to quit,